Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Rad Rides. I have a special episode for you today. I just bought a 1997 Toyota 4Runner four-wheel drive and with a rare manual transmission. So today I'm going to be telling you a little bit about this particular unicorn that you don't see too many of nowadays. As you might know that Toyota in their fourth and fifth generation, they didn't make any manual transmission cars, but the third generation, especially I believe year 2000, was the last year that 4Runner was being offered in a very rare option of manual transmission cars. As you know, it's a dying breed, but I got a chance to get one in a very good condition, although it has about 263,000 miles on it, but it's running like a champ. So today I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about this 4Runner that is going to be my daily car for a little bit of time. If you're new to this channel, make sure to check out the previous video that I did of my 2022 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro in Lime Rush, and I'm also waiting to get a solar octane Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro, which would match the solar octane Toyota Tundra TRD Pro that we have, and kind of be on the same line as the 1997 Mercedes-Benz C36 AMG that I painted in Inferno. That's another special orange color that Toyota was offering in 2015 on the Pro models, and then a few more years on regular models. We're going to be driving this 4Runner. We're going to be telling you a little bit about the design, history, wheel, suspension, engine of this car, and we're going to be driving it a little bit more later on. And please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. That's one of the great ways to get our channel growing. I hope you enjoyed this episode, guys. All right, let's talk a little bit more about this 1997 Toyota 4Runner SR5 four-wheel drive with a very rare 5-speed manual transmission that I recently purchased as my daily commuter until my 2023 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro in solar octane arrives. Now, before doing so, I'm going to give you a little bit of history of Toyota and their brand 4Runner. Toyota for a long time wanted to bring an off-road and simple old school SUV to the US market. However, they didn't have the know-how and the budgeting to do that. So in 1980, Toyota basically shipped out part of their Toyota pickup called the Hilux to the United States, and they banded with the company called Winnebago, and they made this kind of joint collaboration called Toyota Trekker. Now, it was mainly based on a pickup truck, and the cab could come off. That was made until from 1981 through 1983. The first official generation of Toyota 4Runner was built in 1984. That was also based on Toyota Hilux, their pickup truck. They basically added a cab to the back of it. It was two-door, it was crude, it had a 4-cylinder engine. It didn't have a lot of the modern amenities as the SUVs of that time. The second generation of Toyota 4Runner was introduced in 1990, and it was much better than the first generation, and it featured a full steel integrated body mounted on existing frame, and it also featured 4 doors that you could not get on the first generation. So it was more usable, and you could actually carry your family with it. However, from B pillars forward, it was based on Toyota Hilux again. So that was still not the best 4Runner. The third generation of Toyota 4Runner, introduced in 1996, running all the way to 2002, for the first time its own independent chassis and body, and by many off-road enthusiasts and Toyota fans, it's referred to as the first Toyota 4Runner that Toyota got the formula finally correct. With the third generation, you also get longer wheelbase, more cargo space compared to previous generations, and for safety reasons, Toyota has put dual airbags and ABS brakes in this car. This generation has old school simplicity, capable off-roader. The ride quality is much better than the second and first generation, and they're known to be very reliable, and some of them have reached 400,000 or 500,000 miles. This particular model that I purchased has 263,000 miles, and I cannot tell you how smooth it runs, how clean it is, and I'm very happy to have been the third or fourth owner of this car. Moving on to talk about the engine of this car. This car has a V6 3.4 liter that pumps up 183 horsepower and 217 pound-feet of torque. Now, these numbers are not particularly exciting, and this car is not meant to be a fast car. It is an off-roader. It is a very solid built car. But there was another engine option. It was a 4-cylinder engine that was being offered in this car, and that only made 150 horsepower and 177 pound-feet of torque. So that probably had a hardest time to keeping up with the traffic. Now, this car is about 3,900 pounds, and it does the 0-60 about 9 to 10 seconds. Imagine if you have a lot less horsepower and torque and you still have to carry this 3,900 pound car. The 0-60 of that one was about 11 seconds to 11 and a half seconds. But what surprised me about this car is how much it can tow. It can actually tow about 5,000 pounds. That's the same amount as the 5th generation Toyota 4Runner is, and I've had several of the TRD Pro trim levels, and I'm getting a 2023 model to replace this one, and I'm just surprised. Why is the 5th generation the same amount of towing capacity as this one that was introduced in 1996? So that was kind of astonishing to me. Now, the fuel economy of this car is 16 in the city, 19 in the highway, and we get an average of 17 miles per gallon. The transmission choices on this Toyota 4Runner are either a 4-speed automatic transmission or a 5-speed manual transmission that is rare. And if you have a 4-wheel drive car, then your 4-wheel drive gear selector is right next to where your normal transmission gear selector is. Moving on to talk about the wheels, brakes, and suspension of this car. When this 3rd gen was introduced in 1996, it came either with a 2-wheel drive or a 4-wheel drive. The 2-wheel drives had like the narrower body. It didn't have the fender flares and the matching running boards. Also, they came with the steel 16-inch wheels. Now, the 4-wheel drives came with 16-inch wheels that are a little bit bigger. They also came with the fender flares and the running boards. And this one has the more desirable alloy wheels that are 16x7s, and the previous owner chose Michelin Defenders as a tire choice, and the tire sizes are 265, 70, 16s, both in the front and in the back. The brakes on this car are interesting because in the front you have the usual disc brakes, but in the rear you have the old school brake drums, and you don't see too many of those nowadays. All right, moving on and talking about the exterior design of this Toyota 4Runner. The hood is very simple. It has a line on each side of it. The only thing that I wish it had was the hood scoop that was being offered for 1999 Sport and Highlander models and onboard, but this is a 97, so it didn't have that. Coming down, the grille is super simple. It's got a little bit of inlets to cool down the engine. It's got a little chrome borders, which I don't like. I wish it was either black or matching the color of the car. Obviously, you got your Toyota emblem, very simple, generic headlights with the corner lights. And this piece I also don't like since it's chrome. I wish it was the same color as the bumper. Now, the 1999 4Runners had a facelift, and they had what we call as a fat lip bumper, which had an extended crush zone just in case if you get in a car accident, so it was for safety purposes. But they also had the multi-parable headlights and projector style fog lights in the bumpers. I really like how simple and small and proportionate the grille and the bumper, especially like the ducts that you see in them, is on this one compared to some of the newer models of Toyota or Lexuses. I don't know what happened to auto manufacturers, but I think they've gone overboard and making these gigantic grills and bumper ducts that are kind of not appealing in my opinion. Moving on the sides, I really like how simple it is. There's no badges on this side. You got minimal lines. You got one line running through here, one line here, and then another line from the rear doors all the way to the back of the car. What I really like also is the fender flares that you see in the front and in the back with matching running boards that you kind of see how they kind of come together. The mirrors are very nice and square and simple. Smaller windows, but they have enough visibility. And I really like the moonroof. You can tilt it. You can also power slide it. Coming to the back of the 4Runner, I really like the design of this window. It's similar and reminiscent on the 5th generations that I had and the one that I'm going to be getting. Coming to the back of the car, I really like one of the most important characteristics of this 4Runner, and that's the window that goes up and down with the press of a button. Take a look. That allows you to put your groceries, surfboard, or plywood in there without actually opening up the tailgate. And in this generation, it's powered up, so it's very nice. Now, one side effect of this is the wiper blade that used to clean it, it had to be mounted on this little dinky looking thing, and it just doesn't match the car. It's asymmetrical. The 5th generation is kind of hidden by the rear spoiler. Another interesting thing is the placement of this rear spoiler with a little cutout for your 3rd brake light. It gives, I guess, 4Runner more aerodynamic capabilities, but I don't know. It looks pretty cool now because it's 20-some-year-old car, but I don't know how much aerodynamics effect it has. The back of the car is very nice and simple, and it has few crucial information. The word Toyota, obviously spelled out on the bottom right. Then you have the Toyota emblem. Then this is a 4Runner model, and it is an SR5. Now, previous owner of this car has also installed a little backup camera, which is a nice touch because it helps you if you're backing up the car. It's also installed a little tow hitch that you can easily hook up to. Like many other 4Runners, this 4Runner has a side exiting exhaust, which I actually really like. On my 4Runner TRD Pros, they also had side exiting exhaust, the ones that are 2020 and newer, where they had that black catback exhaust. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the interior of this 1997 Toyota 4Runner. And one thing that you definitely notice is that it's simple. It doesn't have no carbon fiber, no glitzy burled wood, and also no big screens except this audio heads-up display that the owner has replaced, and he put a little Bluetooth receiver on it, and it also has a backup camera, which actually comes in handy. But besides that, everything is just basic. You got your climate vents on the sides, 2 in the center, 1 on the driver's side. Then you have basically your climate control is either hot or cold. Different directions that you want to put it. It does come with a nice cold AC. You have a little cup holder, and it's written on it that it is a cup holder. Pretty cool. It's adjustable. You can put 2 smaller cups in there, both for driver and passenger, I guess, and then it closes up like that. Then coming down, you have an ashtray and a cigarette lighter. Also, the previous owner has installed a couple of USB ports. Now, this right here is what makes this 97 4Runner a very desirable car to look after. It's a 5-speed manual transmission. It also has the 4x4 gear selector right here. It is a V6 car, and this generation was the last generation of 4Runner that offered the manual transmission. So for a lot of off-roading enthusiasts, a lot of Toyota fans, this car is the one to be had. Now you also have the traditional handbrakes, which is pretty cool, and you got a couple of cup holders. Gauges are very simple. You got your coolant temperature, you got your tachometer, obviously the speedometer with odometer inside of it, and the fuel gauge. Steering wheel, very simple again. It does have the airbag in it, but it's a 2-spoke steering wheel. Then you got controls for your cruise control. The settings for the wiper blade are here. You can choose from here. Then the lights, also the up and down button for the rear windows here. Now this right here is a pretty interesting feature. It says cancel start clutch. The leather seats, headliner, door cards, and basically everything else in this car that you see have held up pretty good for 263,000 miles, and that was one of the reasons that I purchased this car. Another reason that I bought this car was how smooth the engine was, the air conditioning, transmission, everything else. And this car has a nice long service history that you can see. The cargo area of this 4Runner is nice and big and simple, to no surprise. And I like how you have a little cargo cover that you can bring and you can cover up. The rear seats of this 4Runner, both of them fold down, so it's a 50-50 rear seat. As far as the space for rear passengers, I'm 5'9", 5'9.5", and I have enough room when this seat is pushed all the way to the back. But if you're like 6'4", 6'5", I definitely don't think you're going to be having a nice comfortable ride in the back of this 4Runner. Also, although there's technically 3 people can sit in the back of this car, I would say 2 is maximum. And as far as headroom, I do have enough headroom, but I don't know if you're really tall how much the headroom you're gonna have, because this car is not super big SUV. This is like it's kind of like a compact SUV, and the later generations of 4Runner, they did become a mid-sized SUV. All right, let's tell you a little bit about driving this 4Runner. It is not fast, but it is a fun car, and it is manual transmission. I've always been biased towards manual transmission, and I just love the fact that I have the control to shift the gears and the little balance that you have to make between the clutch and gas, and make sure the car doesn't install. Also, it's a dying breed. There's a lot of manufacturers have completely phased out manual transmission, and the new transmissions that are automatic, the dual clutch, whatever, the ZF transmission, they're a lot faster, but I don't think any of them are as fun as being able to switch the gear of the car yourself. Not like how you have the paddle shifter. This is a little bit on a different level, and it brings back memories of my own Toyota Celica that I had, my Volkswagen GTI, Golf, my 2017 Toyota Tacoma that I had, that was a 6-speed manual transmission. That's you know, there's nothing to compare it to. We're driving this car on PCH or Highway 1. It's right opposite the Pacific Ocean. It's a very beautiful sunny day, and it is the Huntington Beach area. And you see a lot of people that like 4Runners. Like I can spot like a couple of 4Runners right there on the right side, that they like this car because of the rear window of this car completely comes down, and then you can put your surfboard in the back of it. Super reliable car. As you know, Toyotas have been making cars that are very reliable, very sturdy. The fit and finish on them is nice. They don't break down that easy. And this one, having 263,696 miles, as I'm seeing it right now, it's driving really nice. It's a smaller SUV. It feels so much smaller compared to my 5th generation Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro. The car is very simple, old school, and doesn't have a lot of the tech features and extra stuff that the newer cars have, and I'm happy with it. Sometimes you just want that simplicity in your life. You don't want all the tech features and, you know, big screens and massaging seats. This is just old school. It knows what it's doing. You can drive it on city, nice and comfortable, and or if you can want to take it to do some off-roading courses, there you go, you can do that too. A lot of 4Runner enthusiasts like the first generation of 4Runner. Obviously that started it all, and there's the fact that you can take off the rear canopy basically, and basically have a convertible SUV. It's really attractive to a lot of people. Second generation of 4Runner is not as much sought after. The third generation, when they worked out all the kinks, and it's reliable, it's comfortable, it has a good off-road capability and good during road conditions. A lot of people like that, especially with the manual transmission, which is more sought after. 4th generation, besides the V8 that came in it, a lot of people try to not look after them. They're not desirable yet, although they're nice cars. And then the 5th generation, obviously, that is being made until 2023 before it switches to the 6th generation. That's also very popular design of 4Runner. I really wish the 4Runner in its 6th generation would give you an option for manual transmission. Look, they brought the 6-speed manual transmission back, and they're putting in a GR Corolla. Why can't they put a 6-speed manual in their SUV, their most popular off-road SUV? Toyota should think about that. But, you know, at least for US market, they're not going to be doing it, I'm pretty sure. Alright, thank you so much for watching this episode of Rad Rides covering this 1997 Toyota 4Runner SR5 with 4-wheel drive and manual transmission that I recently bought for the next few months. I will be getting my 2023 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro in solar octane in the next couple of months, but this will be my daily for the next few months until I get that. And please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. That's one of the ways that gets our channel growing. And until next time, where we bring you another episode that has either a car that has significance in automotive history, or another one of my cars that I do some compare and contrast and tell you a little bit more about them. Until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.